Hey guys, this is Nodlammers Invoked 101. Welcome back, and today we're going to be taking a look at my updated Infinitrack deck profile. This is a really cool deck, and I was really excited for Master Rule 5 to come out because this deck, I feel, is one of those things that could totally thrive in Master Rule 5, but then we got the new set, and we didn't really get to play in the time period between there was no new stuff and Master Rule 5's release. We didn't really get to play during that time period. So that kind of sucks. And one really cool thing though that I was able to get heavy forwards for this deck. So if you guys don't know, Eternity Code was delayed for the United States, so we aren't able to get those cards as quickly, but I was able to find a seller who had a pair of heavy forwards. I'm proxying the third one, unfortunately. So he had a pair of them. He was in the US and I picked up both of them, so I just need a third one, and but outside of that, this deck is basically done. I have a lot of fun playing this. But with that said, I'm going to move the extra deck and the spells and traps off to the side, and we'll get right into the deck profile. But before then, if you like the channel and you like the content, down in the description below, there's a link to our Patreon, our Teespring, our Cashapp, our Ko-fi, and our Discord. So if you feel like supporting the channel, that's where to do it. But with that said, let's start it off. Of course, the first card we're playing is 3 Anchor Drill. This card is one of the best cards in Infinitrax, and it's also the most expensive card. It's what makes Infinitrax not a budget deck anymore. This card and Harvester kind of ruined the deck for a lot of people, because Anchor Drill, last time I checked, was like $100. So, which really sucks, because if you didn't pick up this deck when it was cheap-ish, back when it came out, because this was like 20 bucks when it first came out. So if you didn't pick it up then, you're kind of SOL at this point. But yeah, Anchor Drill on normal or special summon, you get to special summon 1 Earth Machine monster from your hand in defense position. So that's a really useful effect. He also has the effect to target another machine monster you control and make his level and that monster's level the combined level of theirs. So if you target another level 4, they become 8. So really cool card, really useful card, really expensive card, unfortunately. The next one, which is another card that kind of ruins Infinitrax, is Harvester. And last time I saw, I think this one was like 15, 20 bucks. It's been a while since I looked at Harvester's price, but the reason I believe he was expensive is because when he's normal or special summoned, you get to search an Infinitrack monster. So he was kind of like the replacement for one of the other cards in the deck, specifically Heavy Forward. For a while, he's the the Stratos for the deck. A really cool card, and that's actually the only low-level ones that we have. Oh, Harvester also has the effect to do the level combining thing. Almost forgot to mention. So he can do it too. He's also a machine dupe target, which is really nice. And has 2100 defense. So there's a lot of people who... there's some people who play Cyber Dragon, like Noxter, with this deck and then vanilla Cyber Dragons, because it's a level 5, and you can summon this and other Infinitracks that have 2100 defense off a Noxter and then machine dupe it. But we play something different in this deck. Anyways, for the big Infinitracks, the first one we play is Trencher. Trencher is a monster reborn for the deck. What he does is he banishes himself from the graveyard to special summon a Infinitrack from the graveyard in defense mode, which is really cool, and it has to be a level 5 or lower Infinitrack. He's also a machine dupe target. He has 500 attack, and then all the big Infinitracks, like the level 5 ones, they all have the effect to tribute an Earth Machine monster you control to special summon themselves from the hand. So he can do that much the same as Brutal Dozer can. Brutal Dozer is one of the newer Infinitracks. He came out of Chaos Impact, and he's a nice addition to the deck. He was a very nice card to get released. His effect is that he has the tribute effect to special summon himself, and then he also has the effect of, if he's special summoned from the hand, you get to special summon 1 Infinitrack monster from your deck in defense mode, but negate its effects, and you can't summon monsters for the rest of this turn except for Earth Machines. Is it from the extra deck? You can't special summon monsters for this turn except Earth Machines. Yeah, so really cool. Has 2100 defense, so you can use Cyber Dragon Noxter with it, but I don't know why you would when he locks you out. He locks you into Earth Machine, so. And then the last big Infinitrack we play, and I believe this is the last Infinitrack monster in the main deck, 2 Crab Crane. You could substitute the second Crab Crane for maybe a Drag Shovel, or maybe, if you really want to, a Tunneler, but I feel that 2 Crab Crane is proper. I think 2 Crab Crane is definitely good. Crab Crane's effect is you can banish a machine monster from your graveyard to search Outrigger Extension, which is a rank up magic for the Infinitrack archetype. It also like prevents targeting, I think. I think it's either you can't target them or they're unaffected by it, something like that. But that's it for that. For other monsters, we play 2 Flying Railroad, Pegasus Stampede. On normal or special, you can special summon. You can target a level 5. Is it a level 5? No, it's any Earth Machine monster in your graveyard, except Pegasus, and then special summon it in defense mode, but its effects are negated. And then he also has the ability to target a monster that you control, and then, but instead of combining their levels, his level and that monster and the targeted monster's level becomes whichever level. So like if you target a level 5, they can both become level 5, or they both can become level 4. So he's kind of like a weird Infinitrack, like a prototype, because I think he came out before Infinitracks did. I think he did. And then I'm not totally sure. I'm not 100%. Don't quote me on that, but I think he might have came out before Infinitracks. And then I also play 3 Despot 1 and 3 Despot 03, mainly because these are machine dupe targets, but also because they're good. So Despot 001 is a tuner. I'm not playing anything that takes advantage of it because I didn't feel that the fact he was a tuner mattered. But he says he gains 500 attack and defense for each machine monster you control. If 2 or more machine monsters are special summoned at the same time, while this card is in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card. So basically, if something gets machine duped, you can bring him back. But Despot 03 also has the ability to, it says when this card is normal summoned, you can special summon 1 Despot monster from your deck, except Despot 03. Then once per turn quick effect, you can target a Despot monster you control. It gains 500 attack for each Despot monster you currently control until the end of this turn. So these two together are actually probably the best Despots to play. I got these ones out of the Machine Instructor deck. You've seen I do have a Despot deck profile on the channel prior to that, so. But these ones are definitely really nice. They are Earth Machines, which is really good, because one of the biggest problems I was finding with this deck is that I wasn't getting enough Earth Machines on the field early on, and I didn't play enough low-level monsters. So these ones do stuff, and are machine dupe targets, and it's like, this one gets you advantage. He summons Despot 01, and then Despot 01 can become big. You can tribute them for the bigger Infinitracks. It just works out overall. And also you can use Harvester and him to make level 5s, and you can use Anchor Drill and him to make the rank 7s. So like Despot 03 plays a really big role in the deck, while Despot 01 is more of a utility card per se. And with that is it for the main deck monsters. Moving into the spells and the traps, we of course have the new card. Why would we not? And unfortunately it's proxied. 3 Heavy Forward. Heavy Forward is a must play in this deck. It is the Rhoda for Infinitracks, and it fixes so many problems with Infinitracks. I didn't think I kept telling my friends, I was like, Infinitracks literally just need a card that searches them. Like if they could get a Rhoda and maybe another and like a spell or trap support, like that would be perfect. And then they got Crusher Run, which does a little bit for the deck, and I think it does like, it doesn't do a lot, but it does a bit of enough, if that makes sense. But Heavy Forward does a lot. So on activation, you get to add an Infinitrack monster from your deck to your hand. Then it says once per turn, you can target 1 Machine Xyz monster you control, then activate one of these effects. Either change its battle position or attach this card to it as a material, and you can only activate 1 Heavy Forward per turn. So the reason the battle position is important is because whenever you, all the Infinitrack Xyz monsters have the ability to tribute a machine link you control to special summon themselves in defense mode. So what you can do is you just put it in attack mode. And the fact that you can do that means that Infinitracks can really be the OTK deck that they wanted to be with this card. This also lets you, there's also some fun interactions with Infinity with this card, because you can just like stick this under Infinity and give it extra attack points. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, this card is awesome. I love this card so much. It is so good. Like, I can't emphasize how good Heavy Forward is, and I'm so happy to have some of these in hand, because I've waited so long for this card to come out. After that, we have, and 1 Outrigger extension. This is the card I was talking about. This is the rank up magic. It says your opponent can't target Machine Xyz monsters you control with card effects. Once per turn, you can target an Infinitrack Xyz monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck 1 machine monster that is 2 ranks higher than that target by using that targeted material. Can't special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except Earth Machines. Xyz monsters, Xyz materials attach that card, attach the new one, and it's treated as an XZ summon. So really cool, continuous spell, very nice. I'm also playing 2 Urgent Schedule. I do wish I had a third one for this deck, but that's just the way things go. 2 of them is just fine. I really like this card. This card is awesome. And so it says your opponent controls more monsters than you do. You can special summon 1 level 4 or lower and 1 level 5 or higher Earth Machine monster from your deck in defense mode, but negate their effects. You cannot declare attacks the turn you activate this, except with machine monsters. If this set card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 10 machine monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Urgent Schedule once per turn. The searching a level 10 never comes up because I always just activate this. Like you're always going to use this in the standby phase, and this card is so good, too good for this world, like real talk. 3 machine dupe because there's like 5. Is it 4 or 5? Hang on. So Harvester, Trencher, Despot. Okay, so it's 4. There's 4 machine dupe targets in this deck, so of course we got to play machine dupe. I was playing machine dupe before then because there was only 2 machine dupe targets, but so like it's so good. Like machine dupe is busted in this deck, especially when combined with Urgent Schedule because you just summon Harvester. Then Harvester won't activate, but then you activate machine dupe, and then Harvester can. So then you just search Anchor Drill, and so now you have. So like these 2 together give you like 5 monsters off the bat, because the other harvesters, the harvester you summon off a machine dupe is going to search Anchor Drill. So I'm also playing 3 Magnet Reverse. I'm not totally sure how I feel about this right now. This is another card I got out of the Machine Destructor deck, and I was super happy that this got reprinted because this is a card that deserves to be in Infinitracks. It is kind of like a prototype heavy forward in a way because it just brings back an Xyz monster with no materials, but it puts them in attack mode, which is really nice. So super glad to have these. If I had a 3rd Urgent Schedule, I'd probably bump this to 2, but as it stands, I think 3 is okay. Then I'm also playing 3 Called Bys. This deck is very Glass Cannon. Like if you get ashed, your turn's kind of over in a way, or like if you get hit with an Effect Veiler. So Called By is a must play in Infinitracks. I can't emphasize that enough. I'm also playing 2 Pot of Avarice. There was a lot of games I was playing where I needed to recycle my extra deck monsters, and that's the main thing with this deck. This deck burns through its extra deck pretty quick, and I needed a way to recycle them. And also you tribute a lot, like you're sending stuff to the graveyard a lot. So I felt that 2 Pot of Avarice, not 3, I think 3 might be a little bit much, but 2 is a good number for this deck. Also, it lets you draw cards, which this deck doesn't have a lot of draw power or consistency in it. So like we got Heavy Forward, we got Harvester, and we have Urgent Schedule. That's really all this deck has going for it, which is more than a lot of decks can say, but Pot of Avarice helps this deck a lot. Alongside that, we also have 1 Foolish Burial Goods, and this is to send Crusher Run. You could also cut Foolish Burial Good if you wanted to, because its only purpose in this deck is to send Crusher Run to the graveyard. The last spell card I play is Monster Reborn. Like, it's Monster Reborn. You don't need to explain it. So the final 2 cards I play 1 Spin Turn and 1 Crusher Run. So I'm going to talk about Crusher Run first because it relates to Spin Turn. So Crusher Run says, if a face-up Earth Machine monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. You can banish this card from your graveyard, set 1 Outrigger extension or 1 Spin Turn from your deck or graveyard. You can only use each effect of Crusher Run once per turn. So that's the reason I want to talk about it first, and that's the reason you send it to the graveyard. Like, it's fine as a continuous trap, but it's much better to just banish it from the graveyard and set Spin Turns. I was used to play 2 Foolish Burial Goods and 3 Crusher Run, along with a second copy of Spin Turn. So just to get them in the graveyard and get stuff in play. Spin Turn is a good one of, in my opinion, because it's kind of like Heavy Forward in a way. So it says, activate one of the following effects. Target 1 Earth Machine Xyz monster you control in attack position, and 1 monster your opponent controls. Change the battle position of your monster, and if you do, destroy the opponent's monster. Or target an Earth Machine monster you control in defense position, and 1 spell or trap your opponent controls. Change the battle position of your monster, and if you do, destroy that opponent's spell or trap. So, as you can see, you know, the Infinitracks, they're coming back in defense position. You can move them around using Spin Turn, you can move them around using Heavy Forward, and then this just lets you pop cards as you do it. So, and I think that was a thing that like Infinitracks were moving towards at one point, but now they're more of like an Xyz spam deck that tries to get out the, what's it called? The Mega Clops as quick as possible. So, very cool deck. I like this deck a lot, and that is it for the main deck. So, moving into the extra deck, I'm gonna start off with the Infinitrack stuff, and then it'll be the other extra deck things. So, the first guy we have, and I only play these as one-ofs, one Infinitrack Earth Slicer. So all the Infinitracks have the effect of if they destroy something and send it to the graveyard by battle, they equip it as a material. So, which is really cool. Like, they just infinity any card they kill. So, and which kind of makes sense because they're called Infinitrack, so it makes sense that they have like the effect that Cyber Dragon Infinity has. Which in theory gives them infinite materials. But Earth Slicer's effect is that, and they also all have the effect to tribute a machine link you control, and then special summon them from the graveyard in defense position. That's the other shared effect that they all have. It all has another effect, but his unique effect is that you can detach any number of materials from this card, target that many cards on the field, destroy them. Really cool. It can pop your own stuff if you want it to, but it doesn't have to. Then we have one Infinitrack Mountain Smasher. He is really cool in the sense that he's just a beat stick. You detach one material from him, and then he gains 1,000 attack permanently. Oh, and I think he also gains 1,000 defense. No, just attack. All right. But he also has 3,100 defense. Pretty big card. Really cool card. Very nice. And has 2,100 attack, so you can summon it back off Noxter if you play Noxter. But yeah, really cool. And then we have the rank 5, which is Infinitrack River Stormer. This card is actually kind of insane. So he has the ability to detach one material from himself, take an Earth Machine monster from your deck, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. And that effect is so useful in so many different ways. There's times where like I'll make Platinum. I remember making Platinum Gadget, summoning this under it, and then using this to get out Pegasus. So then Pegasus just gets the material you detached off of River Stormer. It's really cool the way that he interacts with the deck, and I'm so glad. And like unlike some of the other stuff in the deck where like you can tell like Harvester is like he's one of those farm vehicles, and you know Earth Slicer is one of those big mining claw crane things. River Stormer was one of those cards I didn't know exactly what he is. Apparently he's supposed to be like a Russian like a firefighter tank, which is kind of weird. So alongside that, I'm playing 3 Infinitrack Goliath. Goliath is really important to the deck. He is their Link 1. He requires a non-Link Infinitrack monster, and it says if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target an Xyz monster you control, attach this card to that monster as material. You can only use this effect of Goliath once per turn. And then it says an Xyz monster whose original type is machine and has this card as Xyz material gains this effect. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. So what's really cool is it just has to be a machine, right? So if you have this on the field and then you use Infinity to equip this, Infinity can't be destroyed by card effects, which is kind of cool. I like Goliath a lot. Then I'm playing one Fortress Megaclops. This deck doesn't spit him out as much as it would like to, but this card is insane. If you don't know what it is, it needs 3 Xyz monsters. It's only affected by Xyz monster effects, like unaffected by monster effects except Xyz monsters, and can't be destroyed by battle except with an Xyz monster. And it has 4,000 attack. And then it says you can target an Xyz monster in your graveyard and one card your opponent controls. Special summon that monster from your graveyard. If you do, attach the opponent's card to it as a material, but for the rest of this turn, damage your opponent takes is halved. You can only use that effect once per turn. Megaclops is awesome. Just an insane card overall. And that's it for the Infinitrack stuff. I'm also playing one Platinum Gadget, like I mentioned. Platinum Gadget is the only like not Earth Link that we play. It's also one of the only not Earth Machine monsters we play because it just special summons one from the hand, and that's too good of an effect not to use. So we also play one Gear Gigant X to search as a rank, and it's also a good rank 4 for machines. One Nova, one Infinity, because we make the Nova off of the level 5s, and it's pretty easy to spit out as long as you don't use Brutal Dozer. That's what it's called. I'm forgetting their names off the top of my head. I know what they all do, I just forget like what they're called sometimes. One Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack. This is a card that I've considered taking out and cutting, but I just haven't. One Hope Harbinger for our rank 8 because it's one of the best rank 8s out there. And then one Calamities as an alternate rank 9. Calamities is pretty intense, and this deck used to, like, I remember playing this deck in Master Rule 4 with the links and whatnot, and I'd be able to make Infinity Calamities. And I think I talked about this in the other profiles for this deck, but I need to emphasize that this deck is how crazy this is. I am missing a card. I used to play instant fusion in this deck, and so there used to be a Paracycloid in here just to have an instant fusion target to summon out an Earth Machine, in case you saw that kind of thing. But it's since been removed now that instant fusion's at 1. It's not the most upsetting thing, but it is one of those things where it's like, oh man, that card was kind of neat, and it was a good tech choice because it just gave you a free level 5 for Infinitracks. But with that said, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought about this deck in the comments below. I would really love to hear your feedback, especially since this is one of those decks I feel could be broken if tinkered with a little bit. Like, I know it is kind of like I said, it's a bit of glass cannon, but we've seen glass cannon decks such as Cyber Dragon and whatnot do pretty cool stuff before. So let me know what you guys think. And once again, if you like what you see on the channel, down in the description there's a link to our Patreon, our Teespring, our Cashapp, our Ko-fi, and our Discord, so you can check all those links out. We also have a thing going with Send Calamity. You can use my code Invoked101 to get 20% off your stickers from him. And with that said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.